Angular is going through a massive rebirth. For over a decade, building reactive Angular application means importing heavy third-party state managers, wrestling with complex rxjs subscription leaks, and relying on a hidden browser wrapper that slows down the performance of your application as it grows. I'm talking about the Zone.js. In modern Angular, all of this changes. We are entering into zoneless world, powered entirely by a native feature, signals. Today, we aren't going to look at the syntax. We are going to unwrap the architectural history of why Angular needed this change and dive into how the framework works under the hood and build a fully reactive e-commerce application from the scratch using the basic and advanced concepts of signals, computer signals, linked signals, and signal forms. Let's get started. To understand where we are going, we have to look at how Angular used to work. Years, Angular relied on a library called Zone.js. This Zone.js worked by doing something called as monkey patching. The moment your application is loaded, Zone.js overrode standard global browser APIs like add event listener, set timeout, and fetch. When user click a button anywhere in your site, Zone.js would interrupt that action, wait for your code to finish, and then notify the Angular by saying, hey, there is an asynchronous event that just has finished somewhere. I have no idea what have changed and where it has been happened. So go check everything. Then Angular would then have to perform a massive top-down dirty checking sweep of complete application component tree, re-evaluating text expressions and DOM bindings just to see if a number has been updated. While this is highly optimized, but this has introduced a major performance cost for larger enterprise dashboards. Google's grand plan with modern Angular is to go completely zoneless, and signals are the engine making that happen. A signal is simply a synchronous wrapper around a value that automatically knows exactly who is reading it. Instead of blindly checking the whole page, a signal acts like a laser pointer that tells Angular exactly which specified DOM text node changed. By removing Zone.js, we get smaller bundle size, faster initial loads, crystal clear async debugging tracks, and incredible runtime performance. Instead of being built on top of rxjs observables, signals are custom engineered using an ultra-fast push-pull hybrid graph algorithm that tracks modifications using simple integers and bitwise flags. It is incredibly lightweight and lightning fast. Let's understand signals in this project. The first most thing is writable signal. So the writable signal can be created just by using the variable name equals signal, and you can optionally mention the type, okay, and then you can give the initial value. The initial value, I'll say hello world. Okay, I'll just save it, and we can go into our application, and then here I'll just create a div and then print that value. So if you look at here, I'm giving it as a function in order to show the value, because if you just print this, it's saying that it is a signal and then hello world, because if you execute, you will be able to get the value. That's what you're seeing on the right side. So the value of this can be updated using set and update. So I can use a constructor, and then I'll say title this dot title set. Okay, so this is going to update the value of the signal, and same can be done using update. Yeah, so for update you need to provide a function. That's what for update you just need to pass in as a function hello world signal. Okay, so that's what zap. So this you can use, this will mutate the state of the current variable, and then it will create a new variable. So that's what is happening here, the update. Let's move on. So the pillar number 2 is computed signal. So if you want to compute something, so let's say I will just add total equals signal 0. So I will display that total in here. Okay, I will say div total equal to total. So it's going to display the total value. So now I want to compute the tax, okay, and show the grand total. Okay, I'll say total equals computed, and it's gonna be let's say 1% of the total. So I'll just say this as tax. So what is happening here is whenever the value of this total is getting changed, the tax will be automatically recalculated using computed. So it's coming from core package. You can just import that from the core. And I'll also do grand total equals to computed, which is total plus tax. So what is happening here is whenever there is a total or tax is getting updated, you will be able to see the grand total that's being recalculated. Okay, so now I have done this, right? So now I will go into the constructor and then have this updated. I'll add this here, so it's going to show up on the right side. So let me save this. So it's going to show up, you see here. And now I'll just come here and just update the total, this dot total, and I can update to 100. So you can see that the tax and the grand total has been recalculated. So you can either use an update or set. So the superpower of the computed signals is caching. So whenever the value is requested from the computed signal, it, regardless the signal has been changed or not, the last value will be provided to the UI to show it. So it will never rerun again to give the value. This is the concept of signal and computed signal. Let's talk about the linked signals. So the linked signal is something similar to the computed signal, but when you want to reset the value of the second value, let's say you have two drop downs and first drop down is selected, the second one has to be reset. In that kind of a scenario, you can reuse it. And the difference between the computed and linked signal is the linked signal is writable. So once your first drop down is selected and second one will be reset, and that will be your link signal, and still there is some value you can select. So let me create a link signal here. I will say I have created a country as the first signal, and I will just select state equal to linked signal. So for this I'm going to send two values, string. So and then I will say I'll just source is going to be our country. Start country computation. I can mention source, and it can return based on the source. So if the source is USA, it's going to return California, and if it is not, something else, is going to return a unknown. So I'll also return something else. Case Canada. Okay, I'll save it. So this, let's move this here and then show it on the UI. Let me move to the constructor and update the value now. This dot country dot update Canada. Let me save this. So once I update this, you can see the state has been updated, and if I update anything else, India, and that has been changed. So the value of the second the linked signal has been it's getting updated automatically, and that is a writable signal, and you can still have some value for the linked signal. Okay, so that becomes as a writable signal again. Okay, at that point. So that is linked signal. Let's move into effects. So effects are something will get executed every time when a value of a signal is updated. So let me create a console log of title. Okay, and this is going to be, I want this to be a effect. So every time when a title gets updated, I want to print this value. So what I can do is I can create an effect, and inside that I can call this console log. So I can do effect and then save it. So if I open the console, in the console you can see title and its value is getting automatically printed whenever the value of the title is getting updated. So let's say I have a text box here which I'm integrating that to update the title value, then it's going to be printed every time. So let me go here and insert the input. Yeah, just setting the value in the same line. I'll just save this. Every time when I update this value, you can see so whatever happens to the signal getting updated, it's getting printed on the console. So I can type anything So everything is getting captured by using the effect. So effect is printing all in the console log. So all the updates to the title is captured in the console log. So this will be useful. Let's say in our application, we're going to use this as going to be a bridge between storing this with data of customer card into local storage, so that whenever the user refreshes the page, we will be able to retrieve all the data back and then show them the card details. Let's go over the application now. I've created this e-commerce application, Angular 22, and here you can see the components. I've created a cart which carries the cart item, which will show the price and the selected item, and cart summary, which is going to display the total, subtotal, and then a proceed to checkout button. And then this checkout, this page is going to carry the address and receiver address. And here I'll explain you about the linked signal and the signal forms. And the header just is going to carry top header part where it will display the title and then a navigation bar. Product item, as you know, it's going to display the product card, and then the product list is going to hold the product item and iterate and then show all the available products. The cart service is the main service where I'll explain you about the signals and how we are using the signals here. The application app.js and app.html holding the complete layout of the application. And if you look at here, going to have the app header, and then based on which page the user is on, we are displaying a shop page, which is going to have the product list and the cart and the cart summary is going to be sticky. And then if they move out checkout, we are displaying a checkout page. That is simple. Let's move on to the cart service. Created few writable signals. Here you can see the product, that is a writable signal, and cart, that's a writable signal, and active page. So all three writable signals are used inside the components, and the products is being loaded using the Fake Store API /product, and it's in the constructor. So every time when you reload the application, this API call is going to happen, and then it's going to map the products directly using the API. And whenever there is a change to the cart, right? So if you look at here, the cart is also getting updated, the initialized from the local storage. How are we storing into the local storage? That is using the effect. We are using the third pillar that we discussed, the effect. The effect is gonna get called every time when the cart, the included signal is updated. So because in this case the effect is included with cart, so whenever there is a change to the cart will be stored into the local storage, and that is getting cart is being initialized with the same local storage. So whenever you refresh the page, application will still hold the cart item inside the browser. That's how it is retrieved. And the active page is gonna be our routing logic. So whenever there is a click that's happening on the application, we just switch to checkout and then shop based on which page they are clicking. That is simple, right? And we are computing using the computed signal for three different signals, which is subtotal, total, and grand total. The subtotal is being recalculated whenever the new item is added to the cart, and we are using the sum and then also calculating the price of the product and then how many quantity it is. Based on that, it is going to calculate the subtotal, and from the subtotal we are calculating the tax and also the grand total. This is how the computed signal is being used, and the cart is getting updated or removed whenever there is an item added from the product list. So when you click on add to the product, this particular code will get executed. Here we are just checking whether the product already exists. If that already exists in the cart, we are just increasing the quantity, or else we are just adding it as a new item. Similarly, removing, when it exists, we are just reducing it, or else we are removing it completely because it is less than 1 equal to 1, which is going to be removed from the cart itself. That is simple. And rest of the components you can just go over. I'll give you the link in the description. You can go over the components. These components are just using Tailwind CSS, so there is no CSS idly exist. It's just everything on the inline CSS using the utility methods. And every component, it's injecting the service and also a signal. In this way, the application utilizes the cart service as a centralized global state layer where every signal is getting updated, and you will be able to see change track in one particular global state. Let me go into the browser and show you how it is working. Let me hit localhost. Yeah, here you can see this is the product list component, which is showing the product items. So whenever I have already added few items, so that's getting reloaded again. So because it's getting from the local storage, it's still retained in the local storage. When I click on add to cart, it's getting added and I can remove it. And then similarly, the product can be added and removed, and you can proceed to checkout, which is showing the product checkout page. Here I'll be explaining you this linked signal, right? So let's go into the checkout page. I'll explain you the linked signals. So the linked signals is linked to one of the source. Here I've linked it to two sources to be more specific. So here you can see I've included the cart service as injected it, and I'm showing a shipping address, which is this one, and then the billing address, which is this one, which is a linked signal. The billing address is linked to shipping address and also the same as shipping checkbox. So whenever I check the checkbox, I'm returning the shipping address as the billing address. So that's what's happening here. So I'm using two sources, okay, and that source is being used inside the computation. If the source is true, which means the same as shipping is true, then I'm using the shipping address as my billing address. Else I'm just resetting the component, the billing address component, to empty values. Okay, so that is what is happening. So as soon as I type it, you can see as when the checkbox is checked, the values getting reflected here. But when I just uncheck it, the values are reset, and then I have to manually type it. So if I check it back, and just reflects the same value. Let's look at the signal forms. So every input field that you see here is just linked to ng model in one way, and then the update is happening through update billing. That is the method, and we are just passing in the form key name and then the value in the particular object that we are trying to update. So here the interface that we are using is address, and for that, whatever key that you are trying to update, we will use that value. With the current value, we'll just update the key with the respective value that we are sending it from the form. So this is how values are mapped. So that is for both shipping and billing, and we are just using toggle as same as shipping, the checkbox toggle from the previous value, and then we are using a not symbol toggle between true and false, this part label, and this one. This is also linked as a signal values. So that covers the end to end, and when you click on submit, we're just going to show your order submitted as a pop, and it will also display on the console. Hope this video helps you to uncover signals and why the signal is created from Google and what it is replacing and everything. If you like the video, don't forget to hit the like button, and also subscribe if you like to watch similar videos. Happy learning. Thank you. We'll see you next video. Bye bye.